Good morning, everyone. I'm going to look just where we're switching for a thumbs up. Sarah, I can see you on the screen. Do you mind just giving me a thumbs up that we're good? Excellent. So welcome, everyone. I'm sorry not to be seeing you in person, and I see people joining us. I see lots of familiar names, and thank you for coming to join us today for Ignite Fredericton's annual general meeting and our community report and update. Yes, please feel welcome to put your screens on if you like. It is nice to see some of the faces that are familiar. So welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name's May Foreman. I'm a local entrepreneur, and I'm also have had the honor of serving as the chair of Ignite Fredericton for the last couple of years. It's certainly a privilege to serve in this capacity, and that was a terrific introductory video. I saw lots of positive comments to that end, so well done, team. I do have a few remarks to share this morning, and then we're actually going to benefit from watching a second video that provides an overview of our community report. So certainly gathering today and in the context of what we're all dealing with and seeing in the news, 2020 and it's carried into 2021 has been a very different year for all of us, and especially for those who have invested in growing our local economy. I think it's one of the silver linings of the pandemic is it sort of humanized a lot of our relationships and working together. And so it was really nice in that introductory video to get a chance to learn a little bit more about the team and who's really serving that growth agenda here locally. So even though there have been hardships and challenges, it's certainly been inspirational to see the resilience out of our community. And that business community is thriving, and to see those opportunities in front of us is exciting. So I've definitely, on behalf of the entire board, would love to say thank you to the teams of Ignite Fredericton, Planet Hatch, and Knowledge Park. You have definitely rose to the occasion over the past year and putting in many hours to support the entrepreneurs and business owners through this storm, if you will, that we've all been weathering and continue to face some challenges and opportunities within. But your support is definitely positioning our business community for success. As I said, it was great to see the folks behind all of these things that we're doing collectively in that video. What really resonated for me was that commitment and passion, certainly in the video. And I know that all that you work with really feel that on a day-to-day basis. So there's really no better team than our team to lead our community through economic growth agenda. And so that piece is definitely exciting. I certainly want to particularly recognize, and Larry, you're front and center on my screen, but your unwavering leadership. We're really fortunate as an organization to have celebrated Larry's 10th year of service this past year. We had to do so more intimately following COVID protocol, but that's a milestone not to be missed. And your dedication, Larry, certainly in serving the best interests of our economy is exemplary. And we absolutely thank you and your team for that. I certainly want to also, I know there's a number of officials, my apologies for not having the formality of noting those officials, and I know some of our municipal leaders are on the call with us today, so appreciate everyone being here, but I want to acknowledge collectively the support of our leaders in government, as well as healthcare and frontline through this period. We've relied on you to protect us during this pandemic, and we're really indebted to your commitment to keep us both safe, but also informed. And I think New Brunswick has done a stellar job on both accounts. So, so we appreciate, and we know that has a lot to do with the leadership that we have here in our province. I certainly want to also recognize our strategic partners. I see some of those names and faces joining us today. Certainly the team at the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce is an important partner, the Multicultural Association of Fredericton, certainly the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, ACOA, and our partnerships within the province, Opportunities New Brunswick, Petal, and many more. We really appreciate your collaboration on a day-to-day basis, and certainly appreciate your taking the time to join us this morning. And then also recognizing our core funding partners. So at this point in time, certainly the City of Fredericton, we've worked closely on many initiatives, as I think probably those attending are well informed of, including the Support Fred Local campaign. The town of Oromocto, who brings significant economic development opportunity with the military base and investment attraction capabilities. So we're looking forward to continuing to leverage those assets. And the Village of New Maryland, who has made significant investment in their assets, including the new water treatment project, which again is going to lead and help spur for further economic growth. So I'll leave it there for the moment, and I'm going to turn it over back to the Ignite team. I know they have another video for a year in review, and I think you'll all enjoy it. So thank you, and I'll see you again in a few minutes.
Thank you for joining us this morning. As we all know, 2020 was one of the most challenging years any of us have faced or hopefully ever will. It is important to recognize and demonstrate our appreciation to all the government leaders protecting us during this pandemic. We all owe a debt of gratitude to frontline healthcare workers, essential service providers. Thank you for the work that you do. While we mourn for those that we have lost and empathize with entrepreneurs and individuals who have been hardest hit, there are success stories and new opportunities that we should acknowledge and celebrate. First, the entrepreneurs and business owners in our community never saw failure as an option. They pivoted, dug deep, and they positioned their companies to not only survive, but in many cases thrive during this pandemic. Secondly, I want to acknowledge each of the partners that we have in economic development, and there are way too many for us to name. You demonstrated a can-do spirit, what we've known in Atlantic Canada as to be our culture. Being in the trenches, working collaboratively with you has been rewarding, and I know that those supporting economic development in this region, we are much stronger. Thirdly, I want to recognize the Ignite and Knowledge Park boards. As a volunteer board, you have had to dig deep to support the team with a mandate that we are responsible for. Leadership and governance during a period with unique challenges. At the same time, we have some of the largest projects that we have ever had. You needed to lean into those challenges, and you did. Finally, I want to acknowledge our team. You who have worked hard to overcome the many challenges of 2020 as we serve the economic development strategy and responsibilities for this region. I am proud of them, and I am proud of the successes that you have achieved. So, who best to share with you the highlights from 2020? I will turn it over to the Ignite, Knowledge Park, and Planet Hatch teams.
Look, when the pandemic hit, the first half of 2020 was primarily spent on job recovery, which is distinct from job creation. We quickly oriented our services to support those businesses hardest hit by the pandemic. A central priority, for example, was our Economic Development Recovery Plan, which was developed and launched alongside our key stakeholders to leverage growth opportunities while supporting those businesses hardest hit with those services and programs, such as our new e-commerce accelerator. Kelly, I know the startup sector produced many of these new jobs. Can you tell us where those jobs are coming from and who exactly are creating them?
You're right, Andrew. COVID had an uneven impact across different sectors. For example, personal services and tourism were hit hard, while IT, construction, and startup-related jobs increased. Some of those businesses took advantage of our impact loan. We also used the impact loan to help others pivot, like those in the food and beverage and education sectors. Let's ask the rest of the Planet Hatch team to help us better understand who is starting these new businesses in our community.
That's right, Kelly. We know that historically more businesses are started in recessions, so in some ways the pandemic was good for entrepreneurship, meaning that some people were forced to find economic security through entrepreneurship, and some simply had time to turn that hobby into an actual business. And Daniel, we've seen more variety this year in terms of the sectors in which new businesses are being started, haven't we?
You're right, Hannibal. more startups are launching in diverse sectors like tourism, retail, education, and clean tech. That's why it's so important for us to work as a sector-agnostic entrepreneurship center. Business opportunities abound in every industry.
So the face of entrepreneurship is changing as well. Last year, we saw more women, more Indigenous, and more newcomer entrepreneurs than any other year in our history. In fact, 49% of all entrepreneurs we worked with last year were newcomers.
So we've talked about who are creating jobs in our community, but as we know, it's one thing to create jobs, yet another thing to fill them. Let's ask our workforce development team about how they approach the challenges brought in 2020.
Our major source for workforce attraction has been the virtual events in which we participate and engage international skilled talent. We have established partnerships designed to host such events and provide us a wider outreach relevant to our most thriving sectors. One of the many strategic partnerships we've leveraged over the year is our designated referral partner status with IRCC for the Global Talent Stream.
Another major contributor to the entrepreneurial landscape is the Startup Visa Program, which was very active during the year with over 315 expressions of interest submitted, 78 applications received, and 5 approved files.
The early phases of the pandemic showed that the connection between the job-seeking workforce and businesses was broken. This led to the creation of a continuously updated list of open job opportunities in our region designed to reconnect those people and companies. The feedback we've received has been exceedingly positive on both fronts. This, together with one-on-one consultations with employers and company spotlights, has worked like magic to create perfect matches between job seekers and businesses needing to build their skilled labor force.
Educating those looking for employment has also been key in this new virtual world. Several webinars were organized where experts taught best practices for online interviews, using social media to assist in the job search, and also learning about expectations from employers when working in a remote role. Phase 1 of our immigration strategy complements all these efforts.
The Cyber Centre is the largest capital project in Canada, dedicated to research, development, commercialization, and operations, all centered around critical infrastructure protection. Where are we now with the project? We are now in the leasing phase. We currently have 4 clients making their preparations for their move into Cyber Centre. Some of these clients are investment attraction files that we have actively worked on with the support from Investing Canada and Opportunities New Brunswick. Why Fredericton? Well, we have a long history of firsts and excellence in the area of cybersecurity. Within the innovation corridor, you will find numerous research organizations and chairs, tons of multinational and locally grown companies, startup incubators and accelerators, and academic institutions all collaborating on different projects, leveraging existing strengths to create a special ecosystem that is unique within Canada. In fact, we're predicting over 1,500 positions with annual salaries over $80,000 in Fredericton over the next 5 years. That kind of job growth helps everyone. As we say, a rising tide lifts all ships. Adam, tell us how job creation supports everyone.
Each time that a new job is created, it means that a new paycheck is going home to a family. And that paycheck is being spent at other businesses in our community or to support local organizations. And whether that means buying a new house or putting a kid through hockey, each time that a job is created, we all win. Based off of our 2020 job creation results, over $18 million in new paychecks went home to families in our community last year. That translates into over 39,000 meals bought from local restaurants, and a year that we know that they badly needed our support. It also works out to nearly $3.3 million spent on housing, over $3 million in transportation, and nearly $1 million more spent on recreation activities. For a community like Fredericton, that type of economic impact is really powerful. And while we are very proud of the work that we've done to support small business owners and entrepreneurs in our community, we know that we don't do this work alone.
We have vital strategic partnerships. Each one of us at Ignite Fredericton, Planet Hatch, and Knowledge Park work closely with partners and stakeholders to ensure our clients receive the best possible support at any given time. Partners like the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce, the Multicultural Association of Fredericton, Opportunities New Brunswick, Working New Brunswick, the Local Immigration Partnership, and so many more collaborate on a regular, if not daily basis. Our touchpoints with our colleagues in the Greater Moncton Region, 3Plus, and the new Regional Economic Development Agency, Envision St. John, and so many others across the province enable us to align and promote the province as a whole. As well, academic partners like the University of New Brunswick, St. Thomas University, New Brunswick Community College, and the New Brunswick College of Craft and Design. And of course, none of this would be possible without the financial support of the City of Fredericton, Town of Armocto, Village of New Maryland, Province of New Brunswick, and ACOA.
I am sure from what you just heard from the team, you would realize that this was a significant year and a significant amount of work was put in economic development in support of this region. The results during the pandemic year are different, and they certainly are different than the previous years. Some objectives were changed to reflect the realities at the time. Others were added as conditions changed. And as new opportunities emerged, we adjusted, we worked to accommodate the new normal. Looking into 2021 and 2022 and beyond, our economic agenda will continue to focus on providing support for all business sectors, maximizing those that have significant potential, such as the knowledge and/or technical sectors, biotechnology, agri-tech, artificial intelligence, and engineering. We've also made significant investments in cybersecurity. More than 700 jobs exist in this sector. With forecast job shortages at a global level approaching 3 million, we will continue to lead this sector and increase our efforts going forward. Population growth and workforce development will be critical to our future success, and immigration will be a primary strategy to achieve that. Remote work will be one of our leading strategies to attract new investment and lower the employment barriers between urban and rural resources. As mentioned during the presentations, the investment that we've made in technology has allowed us to take advantage of remote work opportunities. And with the safety that our province has been able to demonstrate during COVID is another example of how we can deploy technology and actually expand the investment attraction capabilities and further grow the economy in the province of New Brunswick. Expanding our support for startup opportunities and focusing on entrepreneurial development will continue to be a priority. As in years past, our partners and stakeholders are critical to the support of what we do, and one of the most important elements of an economic development agenda. We thank them very much for their continued participation. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you for your support.
Well, thank you for that video, team. I think it was so well produced. I loved how the updates were being punted from one team member to another. And I really think it's great that you were able to capture the events of the last year, the context of the pandemic, the pivot that the team has made to respond accordingly in support of our business community and entrepreneurs. And it resonates that it was a year that was equal parts unique, challenging, and encouraging. So really, thank you for that update, and particularly talking at high level economic development and even drilling it down. I noted Adam's comments there about taking it to a citizen level and what does it mean for all of us in our community when we're talking about economic development. So the video certainly only captured some of the highlights over the past year. I know the team intends to reach out to stakeholders and contact you on other initiatives and further details that perhaps are most pertinent to your respective work or areas of focus. So don't hesitate to reach out to them, and I understand that they're going to be reaching out to you. In closing, I sincerely want to extend again our appreciation to the team, to our staff. You have expertly navigated a very challenging period over this last year, and really it's clear that you have worked and continue to work to support continued growth of in our community in the immediate and over the long term. So on behalf of the board, please accept our appreciation for your perseverance and also your steadfast optimism. There are silver linings to be found, and clearly you're finding them, as Larry referenced, within this new normal. And so we appreciate that expertise that you're lending to local economic development. So now we're going to turn to the formal part of the agenda. I'm going to switch screens on my second screen just to pull up the agenda, and we'll settle into the AGM. So thank you, and just hang tight for one moment, please. All right, so we are going to get started. I do see a number of comments there in the chat, just checking them to make sure nothing needs to be addressed before we jump in. Appreciate the positive comments and appreciate the engagement of our attendees. But I'm going to proceed to call our official annual general meeting to order. So per our corporate bylaws, an ad was placed in the Daily Gleaner announcing that Ignite Fredericton's annual general meeting will take place on April 28th, 2021, and here we are. Moving to the second item of the agenda is approval of that agenda. If there are any questions on the agenda, please feel welcome to use the comments or to flag. I'll take a moment to pause. Very best. Then we'll move on to review of the annual general meeting minutes of May 20th, 2020. And I'll be looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the May 20th, 2020 annual general meeting as circulated. I may need some assistance just where I can't see everybody on my screen. So I'll look to Michelle for that, please. Thank you, Wendy. Apologies, I was just switching screens so I could make sure I could try to see all of the board members. So we have a motion by Wendy Southworth. May I have a seconder to approve the minutes? Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. All in favor? So carried, and we'll keep moving. So we're going to move to item number 4, presentation of the 2020 audited financial statements prepared by Dave Kelly and Associates. I see Jill on my screen to the left, and I believe Jill has a presentation, so I'm going to turn it over to Jill Stairs for a few moments. Go ahead, Jill.
Thank you very much. I just had to find my mute button after I shared my screen. I have a very brief presentation of the audited statements. I'm happy to present that it was a clean audit. It went very smoothly this year. We descended on the boardroom and we spent about a week looking through everything, and everything came out very well. So the highlights are the assets of Ignite Fredericton consist of an operating fund, which is the general programs, and then a specific fund of impact, which is funded by a co-op for the impact loans for startups. Cash and investments were strong. Accounts receivable and current portions of loans receivable are also comparative to last year. There is a small amount due from Knowledge Park, the subsidiary, and some prepaid expenses. So total current assets of 1.6 million. There are some loans, longer term portions of loans receivable and impact yet to come in. There is a restricted investment, and then the investment in the subsidiary, or the investment in Knowledge Park, is the major long-term asset of Ignite Fredericton at 7.4 million. So total assets of $9.9 million. On the liability side and the equity, what you owe, accounts payable and accruals, just general trade payables, due to the operating fund, which you saw the asset on the previous slide, and some deferred contributions. So the deferred contributions typically are from funding partners that pay until their fiscal year of March 31st. So it's just a 3-month bit of income that will be recognized in the next fiscal year. So then the statement of operations, revenue and expenditures. So the partner funding is listed here from the municipalities. Other funding comes in here as well as rental income and program contributions. So total revenue of 1.2 million. Expenditures, salaries and benefits, marketing, occupancy, administration, training, etc. So 1.2 million in revenue, 8 million in general expenses, and then special initiatives. And if you want to dig into these special initiatives, there's additional revenue and expenditures. But overall, it was a $377,000 cost to Ignite. So the excess income before we bring in Knowledge Park stuff was $29,000. Knowledge Park had a profit of $941,000. So the organization ended with a profit of $970,000, which gets reinvested into economic initiatives. And that is my very brief presentation of the audited statement, so I don't bog you all down with too many numbers.
Oh, thank you very much for that, Jill. I appreciate that overview. And we will move to the fifth item on the agenda, which allows for discussion and approval of the audited financial statements. So first I'll ask for a motion and then I'll open it up to the floor for discussion. So may I have a motion that the audited financial statements of Ignite Fredericton for the fiscal year of January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020 be approved and accepted as presented by Day Kelly and Associates? A motion by Megan, thank you. And now discussion on the motion. Are there any questions or comments? Just going to leave it for a moment since it's hard to see everybody on screen at the same time, just to make sure. Very best. May I have a seconder from the board in support of the motion, please? Alex, thank you. All in favor? So carried. Excellent. Thank you for that, Jill. We're going to move to our appointment of the auditors, and I'll move directly to putting a motion on the floor for our continued working relationship with yourself and Day Kelly and Associates. So the motion is that the Office of Day Kelly and Associates be appointed to be the auditors for Ignite Fredericton for the period of January 1st to December 31st, 2021. May I have a motion to that end? Supporter of that motion, please. Kim, thank you. And any discussion on the motion? And a seconder, please. Wendy, thank you. Excellent. So we're going to move on to a few agenda items that relate to governance and nominations. And so the Governance and Nomination Committee includes Megan Seagrave as chair, Stephen Hart, Kim Burkholder, and Larry Shaw. And I'm going to turn the baton over to Megan to take us through the next few agenda items, please.
Thanks so much, MA, and thanks, Larry and team, for the previous videos around Ignite Knowledge Park. It's been a phenomenal year given COVID. So I'm going to take us through agenda items 7, 8, and I guess 7 and 8. The Governance and Nominations Committee has met, and we've come up with a list for directors for the upcoming year for Ignite Knowledge Park. I will list those off, but first I'm going to do a call for additional nominations. And the way this works with regards to Ignite's AGM is I do the call for nominations 3 times. You can see my fingers. And then we will move on to listing out all of the directors for the upcoming year for Ignite, and then I'll announce the officers for the Ignite board. So first call for nominations. And I'll just pause for a second, and I don't see anything coming up. Second call for nominations. And I'm not seeing anything in the chat box either. I'll do one last call, 1/3 call for nominations for directors for Ignite Fredericton. Great. Okay. So I'd like to announce the Ignite Fredericton Board of Directors for the upcoming year. M.A. Foreman from Silvermark will remain as the board chair. Alex Scholten, Victory Meats and Produce Market. Dan Keenan, City of Fredericton. Dave McGee, UNB. Jeff Thompson, Serial Entrepreneur. Ken Forrest, City of Fredericton. Kim Burkholder, HRX Factor. Stephen Hart, City of Fredericton. Lindsay Bowman, Connor Stillwell. Myself, Megan Seagrave, BioMB. Mike Pope, Village of New Maryland. Peter Powell, Grant Thornton, and Larry Shaw, CEO of Ignite Fredericton and Knowledge Park. So this is my little congratulations. Thanks so much for everyone for agreeing to sit on the board for Ignite Fredericton. And MA, if you'd like, I'll go into number 8 on our agenda, announcement of the officers of Ignite Fredericton. MA Foreman, Chair. Jeff Thompson, Vice Chair, and maybe Jeff, you could just raise your hand so we could, so everyone knows who we are. Myself, Megan Seagrave, as Secretary Treasurer. We do need to do an official motion to elect the Board of Directors and the members. So I'd like to put forward the motion that the Board of Directors and members accept and approve the appointment of the following persons as officers of Ignite Fredericton Board of Directors for 2021. Again, M.A. Foreman as the chair, Jeff Thompson as the vice chair, and myself, Megan Seagrave, as the secretary treasurer. So I'll put the motion forward, ask for someone to approve. And if there's any discussion. Can I get approval? Great, thanks so much, Kim, and seconder as Alex. I think we're good for number 7 and 8 on the agenda. So thanks so much, everyone.
Great, thank you for that, Megan. We're going to continue on with a few other items in the same vein. We have the announcement of our actual executive committee for Ignite Fredericton Board of Directors as follows. The nominees for the executive committee for Ignite Fredericton's Board of Directors for 2021 are as follows. Chair, M.A. Foreman, myself. Vice Chair, Jeff Thompson. Secretary Treasurer, Megan Seagrave. CEO, Larry Shaw, and past Chair, Peter Powell. Thereafter, we need a motion on this election of the executive committee as well. So put forward the motion that the Board of Directors and members accept and approve the appointment of the following persons as the executive committee of Ignite Fredericton's Board of Directors for 2021. Again, Chair, M.A. Foreman, Vice Chair, Jeff Thompson, Secretary Treasurer, Megan Seagrave, CEO, Larry Shaw, and past Chair, Peter Powell. May I have a motion, please? Kim, thank you. And a seconder? Lindsay, thank you. So carried. So appreciate everyone's support to that end and everyone's willingness to serve in those various capacities. Before we conclude, I definitely want to take a moment, and I'm looking on my screen. I saw Wendy before there. You've moved up into my upper right corner, Wendy. We really want to thank you for your service to the Board of Directors. Wendy is our outgoing board member this year, and we really appreciate your contribution. I know there'll be continued engagement through committee work and just working with you as an entrepreneur in our community. And your service is appreciated. So I know there will be a plaque and presentation, and that's going to happen in the real world, not in this virtual world, but by all means, please accept our thanks for your service.
Thank you. It's been a great 3 years.
All right, lastly, just a last sort of closing remark, and you know, I don't want to be repetitive, but at the same token, I think it's incredibly important to be grateful, especially in this season after a challenging year, as we've all noted. So I would love once again to thank our partners, supporters, and team members for your continued commitment to growth and resiliency in the region. A special thanks to the team. I think you did an absolutely exemplary job in pivoting pivoting to this virtual format and providing us with the updates, the information, and really the story, right? Every organization, what you aim to do is to tell your story well. And I think that really shone through in the manner that you chose to share with all of us today. And so thank you for that thoughtful consideration about how best to communicate our results and our areas of focus going forward. I'd certainly also like to thank and extend appreciation for my board colleagues. We appreciate your contributing your time, your expertise, and your leadership to our organization. It's an absolute privilege to work with you, and I'm looking forward to doing the same over the coming year. And thank you, everyone. We have a large participation group I see by the numbers on the call, and we appreciate everyone taking the time just to join us today and for attending our AGM. So with that, I am going to ask for a motion to adjourn, please. May I have a motion? Megan, thank you. So thank you, everyone. That concludes our official AGM and community report for today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. For the board, we're going to be moving into another call for our regularly scheduled quarterly meetings.